Hey everybody, welcome. Hi everyone, welcome to the AWHI Residential Working Group call for March 19th, 2024. Great to have you with us. I'm Joe Archunas with New Buildings Institute here as usual with working group leads, Paul Campbell and Owen Howlett. And we've got a great agenda for you today. Really excited about our presenters. So let's dive in. I see my colleague, Noah just went off camera, but Noah, if you wanted to read the antitrust compliance statement, we'd always welcome that.
Yeah, I'm happy to read it. Thanks, Joe. The Advanced Water Heating Initiative is a member-supported collaborative of professionals from across the U.S. This diverse membership includes numerous competitors, and care must be taken to scrupulously abide by federal and state antitrust laws. Members should remember that antitrust compliance is important at all times. At this and other AWHI meetings, participants should not discuss competitive pricing, profitability, allocating markets for customers, or promotion of a particular product or accessory.
Cool. Thanks so much. No, appreciate it. Okay, well, so this is our agenda for today. We'll do our usual welcome and introductions, and then we're going to get into heat pump water heaters with a battery backup, talking about a new project from the company Channing Copper. Really excited to hear from them. And then we're going to turn it over for the second half to Clayton Homes, the largest maker of manufactured homes in the country. And we're going to hear about their transition to heat pump water heaters. And so that's something to celebrate and get excited about. But as usual, for the beginning of our meetings, we encourage new folks to the AWHI Residential Working Group to just come on mic and let us know who you are and who you're with. So anyone new, please go ahead.
This is John Neal with AEA, Association for Energy Affordability. Hey, Josh. I'm not new to AWHI, but I'm a bad parent. I haven't been here in a long time, so thought I'd say hi to everybody on the call.
Oh, thanks, John. Appreciate it and welcome.
Hello,
new folks today.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jesse Willett with Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, and Sharon Metzger asked me to join today's meeting.
Great, welcome. Great to have you.
This is Howard Wig, Hawaii. Oops, Howard Wig, Hawaii State Energy Office.
Oh, great. Welcome, Howard.
Hi, I'm Josh Land. I'm from Channing Street Copper Company. I've got Andrew Browning with me. We're going to talk about some battery integrated water heaters in a few minutes here.
Great. So excited about that. Any other new folks to the meeting today?
I am Elliot McCrary. I'll be presenting for Clayton later, but just wanted to introduce myself now. I'm pretty new to this group, so nice to be off.
Great. Yeah, Elliot, will be great to have you on.
Hey, Joe, this is Byron Zuckerl with Clear Result. Just joining new to this meeting. Jessica Ruby had invited us. So hoping to learn a lot and collaborate with you guys. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome.
Hey, this is Nathan Kelly, Bongo Power Administration. Yeah, newer to this meeting. New residential sector tech lead. Just thought I'd say hi. Thanks.
Hey, Nathan, great to see you on this group. Great. Well, for other new folks or returning, we'd love to see who you all are, new faces and regular faces. Go ahead and put your name and org in the chat if you so please. But let's get going through our updates. Of course, we were excited to see many of you at the Hot Water Forum last week. It was such a great time and so informative as usual. Lots of takeaways and curious, we can open this up for just a little discussion. What were some of the folks' takeaways? I jotted down a couple. We heard from lots of manufacturers, potentially 5, that will have 120 volt plug-in heat pump water heaters by the end of 2024. It was great to connect with Renai as a new heat pump water heater manufacturer. We'll have them as a spotlight at the residential working group in the coming months. And then, a big takeaway, I linked it here to the Hot Water Innovation Prize. It was announced by NIA at the Hot Water Forum. This will be a prize for the development of a split system residential heat pump water heater that it will be tailor-made for multifamily in-unit replacements. So it's a product category that we definitely are in need of, and so excited about this innovation prize. But anyone else have any top takeaways from the Hot Water Forum you care to share with the group?
Well, Joe, I thought Stacey Abrams as our keynote at lunch on Wednesday was fantastic, even though she could only spend about 20 minutes with us. Boy, what a force she is.
Yeah, absolutely. Her quote, if I remember right, instead of doing, she said the movie, instead of doing everything everywhere all at once, do something somewhere soon.
Soon.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. Well, other takeaways from Hot Water Forum, please put them in the chat. There was just so much learning and so much geeking out on water heaters and heat pump water heaters. Other announcements, we announced this at the Hot Water Forum, but also wanted to announce in the working group that the equity white paper, Increasing Equitable Access to Heat Pump Water Heaters, was released last week. And also the resource guide to the program, there's a QR code, and you can actually click on the link at the top to go to both of those documents. This was the labor of love from so many organizations connected with AWHI to profile what are the top practices for increasing equitable access to heat pump water heaters. So thanks to all of you who participated in that, and please do check it out and share widely, and give us your feedback. Let us know what we missed and how we can improve. Other updates, the AWHI March newsletter is out as of early March, but just want to plug this. There's always so much good content there, so much on the state of the market in heat pump water heaters, so check that out. You can click on the online link here. And as we're just going through a couple updates, we saw at the all stakeholders meeting right before the Hot Water Forum, if anybody missed it. The all stakeholders meeting brought a lot of creators of educational resources for heat pump water heaters, both central and residential, together, and we compiled all those resources into a one-pager, and you can find it at that link. A lot of these training resources are just fantastic, and we want to promote them and use them together. Okay, two more updates. We announced this at the all stakeholders meeting as well, but hopefully many of you saw that the HRI numbers that were just released in February, showing a big a widening gap between electric resistance water heaters and gas water heaters. The electric resistance water heaters hit their highest level in at least the last 20 years at 4.9 million water heaters sold. AHRI doesn't differentiate between electric resistance and heat pump water heaters, but hopefully that's an indication that the heat pump water heater numbers are increasing substantially as well. We'll find that out in September with Energy Star data. And we wrote a quick article on the topic in Clean Technica. And then finally, last announcement from AWHI, the upcoming webinars and roundtables. Don't miss our gas appliance pollution webinar this Thursday in partnership with Electrify Now. We're going to be hearing from Nancy Seidman from RAP and Sierra Club on this really important lever of air quality districts that are driving the adoption of heat pumps and heat pump water heaters. And then just announcing we're doing a low GWP refrigerants manufacturers roundtable with the CEDA program on April 18th. The link is there. We're going to be hearing from Trane and as well as A.O. Smith on their work in refrigerants. Okay, so I'll turn it over to Paul for some Energy Star updates. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, I see. I left our smiling friend Matt Reisinger's picture up on this page, so that's fine. It's a good reminder that that video is still out there and it's getting a lot of play and traction. So if you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to go out to YouTube and look it up. Matt does a great job. Just a couple of things. Energy Star 2 was at the ACEEE Hot Air and Hot Water Forum last week. We got a lot of response. Nate Jutras from Energy Star presented on the technical resource manual's valuation for heat pump water heaters. Energy Star has a focus on looking at all the TRMs by state this year and understanding where there are opportunities to update savings calculations, cost effectiveness results, that a lot of utilities use then to create measures and programs for themselves. And if that data isn't accurate and up to date, many times those cost effectiveness calculations are not as positive as they could be, and sometimes results in utilities not launching programs. So huge effort across the country. And afterwards, we're approached by a number of resources in the industry who've spent some time doing similar things. So that's exactly why I think we all do the things we do, is to present topics and ideas, and then get others who have also taken an interest to rally around it and share ideas and outcomes. And that's exactly what's happening here. So if there's anybody else that's on with us today that has interest in the TRMs or has done some research there and wants to contribute or participate, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or to Nate at Energy Star. We can follow up there. Also exciting, as Joe mentioned, with so many new products and innovations coming in the marketplace, that also means there's new manufacturing partners coming in. And Joe mentioned Renai as one of those. So it'll be great to see how they position heat pump water heaters, since they've been the king of the gas tankless for so many years. So it'll be great to see them messaging around a heat pump water heater. And we're also adding Bosch and Mia. Sorry for the typo there. But Bosch and Medea have already agreed to join the SMAC Council. So that brings up to a total of 14 members, which is really a testament to this, the original founding members of this group, and the value that they've brought not only to themselves, but to the industry. So it's just great to see the growth there. I included a reminder on the Energy Star Home Savings Tool. Just one more time, we also highlighted that last week, and that is starting to get more and more notice and awareness in the industry. This is meant to bring all things incentive, rebate, tax credit, home, state, federal, city, and the like in one spot, and not only what's available by zip code when you enter that, but also order of application, bundling capability of all these, trying to keep things really straight. So as the state energy office programs hit the streets, that'll be layered in as well. So it's an ongoing project. Data sets are still being completed, and we appreciate the feedback that Energy Star has already received from some of the early users. So again, encourage you to go out and take a look at that. And then lastly, we're just a few weeks away from Earth Day 2024. Really, it's Earth Month. It started as Earth Day, Earth Week. Now it's Earth Month. Might as well make it Earth Year. But lots of activity with Energy Star. Many of you are already aware of the assets that they've created, and you've been contributing, and you continue to share that message out, and Energy Star appreciates that very much. So if you've got any more questions or interest, I encourage you to go out to the Energy Star website and just search on Earth Day 2024, and you'll find all the resources there. That's it for me, Joe. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. And so that does it for our introductions. Let's turn it over to heat pump water heaters with battery backup. We're lucky enough to be joined by Channing Street Copper Company. Many of us know them by their induction stoves with a battery backup. We're here, they're talking to us about a nascent project and looking for feedback, also a nascent project on heat pump water heaters with a potential battery backup. So Channing Street Copper, great to have you all with us. If you guys want to drive this slides, you can take control. There's a button at the top. Otherwise, I can do it for you. So either way,
that seems fun. I think I can press buttons and make it go. Hi everyone. I said hi a little bit earlier. Josh Land here. Got Andrew Browning with me.
Hey, how are you?
We're working on, as Joe said, battery integrated induction stoves, but we have recently got some funding from the Department of Energy to put that same kind of technology into a few different products. That the focus of attention here is the heat pump water heater. So idea is we integrate a battery bank pretty much into a heat pump water heater. Overall idea with this technology is to electrify more homes, get folks more off of natural gas, and then move into more decarbonization across the grid. There's a lot of fossil fuel burning machines out there, and about 500 million of them need to be retired in the next 25 years. You all kind of are familiar with this, the standard duck curve, what's going on. If we can shift how we use our energy and when we use our energy and when we store that energy, it can really flatten that duck curve overall.
Hey, Josh, real quick, I think I'm still driving this. I think I'm still driving the slide. Just for FYI, you can move them, but you have to take control of the screen if you want everybody to see what you're seeing. Otherwise, I can just keep.
Gotcha. Why don't you, go ahead and go to slide 16 then.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on 16. Perfect. Yeah.
I'm just gonna let them go. Okay. I think I have it now. Does that look right?
Yep.
Around 16?
Yeah, you've got it now. Yeah, perfect.
Great. Thank you. All right, moving forward. So yeah, what we do with our stove so far, what makes this nice is that we make plugging into a 120 volt outlet possible. We're able to pull energy from the battery and the wall at the same time, so you don't have to have a 240 volt plug behind where your stove usually goes, in this case, water heaters. Cuts down a ton on installation costs, especially for retrofits, and makes it easy for utilities as well, as in load shifting and just avoiding full upgrades both to homes and to neighborhoods. Let's see. So we're in the first few steps of building out our water heaters over here. Andrew's taking charge of that. Kind of the few a couple things we're looking at right now is just being able to have a quicker hot water recovery time. If you are recycling through, a tank of hot water, we want to be able to come back and get more hot water more quicker. So we are putting resistive elements in into our hot water heater, our water heater that is, along with the heat pump. That will help just pull power from the battery and kind of dump it into the water a lot quicker if you're trying to go through a few different tanks in an afternoon. And yeah, it enables that still for enables the heat pump to still operate off of 120. That's kind of the main plug there. This is kind of like something we're looking at. We are mostly looking for feedback from everybody here. You guys are a bunch of experts, and we're kind of new to this world. Wondering if in the next few minutes you have some comments, some questions, some advice, like what maybe are some of the focus and what are some of the attributes that we should be focusing on in the development here. We're new to this game. We've been making stoves for about 3 years now. We're feeling really good about that. We're in the manufacturing stage, and we feel confident in making induction stoves with batteries built in. But any feedback, any questions, any advice from the hot water specialists out there? What do you all think?
Hey, this is Don from Block Power. How are you doing?
Hey, Don, how's it going?
Yeah, can you confirm? My understanding is the battery actually supplies an electric resistance, right? Correct?
The battery supplies the entire unit. So there is no connection between the wall and the actual water heater unit or any of its elements. That is entirely driven through the battery, and the battery is connected to the wall.
Okay, so the battery should supply, as a priority, should supply the heat pump, right? Which is more efficient than the resistive heating, right?
It'll be a bit of both. So while ideally we'd be pulling from the battery whenever we can. If there's a time where it's the battery's gone low, we'll be pulling from the wall. And if there's a time that we can pull from both the battery and the wall at the same time, that's totally fine too. Depending on the time of day and the needs of the system at one time, we'll kind of adjust from there.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Joshua Pierce. And yeah, folks, please raise your hands. We can have a nice order to this. That'd be great. Thanks. Go ahead, Joshua.
Hey, thanks. Cool stuff, guys. Been following your progress and excited to put a few units in when you've got some scale going. Couple of quick questions, mainly about the capacity of the battery in terms of amount of water to be heated. So I'm assuming you've done some calculations, and what can you share with us about both the boundary conditions, sort of like, worst case when you're just doing resistive heating, and best case when you're using battery capacity for just through the heat pump, sort of what amount of hot water, what kind of recovery time can you give us in terms of just battery capacity and its ability to heat water in whatever metric or measurement you want, whether it's BTUs or gallons?
This is one of the things that we would both like feedback with and will test, but generally speaking, in our other systems, the battery is not sized for energy capacity. The battery is sized for power output, which tends to give us an excess of energy capacity. The battery is really there so that we can match the performance of, like, say, an off-the-shelf hybrid 240 volt hot water heater or whatever, using 110 volt 15 amp infrastructure, right? That's the primary objective, right? We're not trying to necessarily have energy storage so that we can provide off-grid hot water.
Right.
So sizing the batteries right now, we need to size it as small as possible while still being able to achieve the power output that we need for that to function. However, there is a cost balance, obviously, of like, do we add more storage, and is that a cost-effective way of either getting grid storage on the grid or getting a more effective consumer product?
Makes sense. Okay, thanks for the clarification. I guess my follow-on question then would be, given the fact that you're trying to match performance with a 240 volt unit, but you're doing it in a tank with that's half the capacity. I guess that would be my first piece of feedback is, if you're trying to match performance, your recovery time has to be significantly faster in order to be able to, or from an event-driven perspective. And that's going to be tougher to do since you're drawing off 110 volt power.
Right. I mean, for that quick recovery time too, just dumping all of the energy from the battery into the water by way of resistive elements is a huge win. That gets a lot of hot water, gets a lot of water hot quickly. And that's kind of what we're shooting for. That, I think maybe you're referencing this last slide over here, because it says a 30-gallon tank. That's an idea. That's a rendering. We're toying with different sizes right now. Not confirmed. That's like our 100% go-to, but that's an idea we had. So we're doing our testing, and if you got ideas, lay it on us.
All right. Well, I think we have a lot of hands going up, so let's keep moving down the list. Thanks, Joshua. Appreciate it. Owen Howlett, co-lead of the working group. Go ahead.
Hi there. I'm really glad to see this product. It's great to see this happening. I have a couple of questions as a regulator.
Sure.
What you have here is two devices in one, right? You've got a battery and you've got a water heater. What happens at end of life when one or other of those, probably the water heater, fails? Does the battery have an ongoing life beyond the end of life of the water heater, or can it be added to a new water heater? How does that work? And then second question, do you anticipate that the battery will be able to take part in load shifting programs, or is it more or less it just has one job, and that's to be a backup for the water?
Yeah. For second question first, absolutely, we'll be taking part in demand response. That's kind of a primary, not a primary thing, but definitely something we're looking at and taking part in already with our stoves. We're just developing our virtual power plant system as we speak with the battery and stoves. That'll definitely extend to water heaters and other products that we'll have out there. Very excited about that. So for sure that'll be a part of it. The recycling aspect, you're saying, can the battery go on if the water heater dies, and can the water heater go on if the battery dies, kind of a thing. Yes, we have kind of, depending on where these are, we're looking at New York and California as our first kind of launch sites for the stove and then the water heater as well. There's different battery recycling programs and replacement programs depending on where you are. We are all lined up with those already and able to do service calls if there is like some kind of battery failure. Then we'll definitely be addressing that. We do have our battery warranted for, I think, 10 years is what we're looking at for New York right now for the program we're taking part in out there. And that will extend to water heaters as well.
Yeah, and I'll jump in and say on the back end, our grants for both the heat pump water heater and for the stove work that we've done previously have dependencies on recycling and second life applications. So there is work being done both by us and also generally by this grant ecosystem to try to solve that problem. Obviously, it's quite complicated.
Thanks. That's great. Okay, Edward, and for folks asking questions, could you just say your name and your organization? It'd be great.
Hello. Great product, or great idea for a product. And my question is about the power electronics and how you will be able to shrink the power electronics small enough so that it will fit in the kind of space available around the tank or on top of the tank. And so the question is, do you plan on using high voltage lithium batteries, so that you're just converting 120 to like something like a 240 volt DC to charge the battery, and then run the elements off of DC and the compressor off of high voltage DC also? Or can you speak more about those things?
Yeah, we have no AC power conversion. We're running everything directly on DC, high voltage DC.
And in short,
perfect.
yeah, we shrunk things in a reasonable way to put it into a stove, and we feel good about putting it into a water heater as well. Is the I guess high level answer to shrinking down the power electronics.
And then is that compressor going to be single speed, or are you going to use some sort of brushless DC motor speed controller so that it is a variable speed compressor?
Yeah, unclear at the moment.
Unclear. Okay, thank you.
Well, just Edward Liu is a great guy to be chatting with Canyon Pursuit Copper team from Pacific Northwest National Lab. So might be a good person to bounce ideas off of. Trying to make that connection. Great. I'll next we'll go to Chris Granda from Energy Solutions. Go ahead, Chris.
Let's see. Hi, can you see me? Yeah, there we are. Yeah, great. Thanks for introducing this really interesting product. I guess I see this as being, competing with, I mean, this is the thing about water heaters, right? Is that they already have energy storage. So where this looks attractive to me is in space constrained situations, and also for 120 volt applications. I was wondering if you could talk about the size of that 30-gallon package, with both the compressor and with the battery, as compared to a conventional electric resistance water heater. And also, do you have plans to run it through DOE's new test procedure for effective storage volume? Because I think that could be really interesting as well.
Yeah, we are going to have to go through that. Again, with the 30-gallon tank, 30-gallon plus battery plus heat pump, we are in prototype stage, so I can't really give you like a apples to apples comparison of like what the final product with all the bells and whistles included would look like compared to like say a 50-gallon water heater right now. If the heat pump will obviously add a little bit of size. Batteries, we hope, will not add too much. We've done a good job of really slimming down our pack, and it's still retaining a good amount of storage for our stove, and we're still figuring how that kind of architecture will look for the water heater itself.
Yeah, I guess, and maybe just to underline Chris's point, though, the small form factor is something we keep hearing again and again. There's various attempts to create solutions to the small water heaters, because usually the current heat pump water heaters on the market are large tanks with large storage. So
yeah, one of our colleagues actually has this problem right now, and so we're using her house as a sort of test bed for a small form factor. So that's one of the things that I have in development at the moment.
Okay, and happy to take all questions all day long. I know you have other folks to talk to, Chris, or sorry, Joe. We can keep going, but it's up to you on your scheduling. That said, I don't think I put my email on here. If anyone wants to email and chat after this, it's josh@channingcopper.com. Maybe we'll pass that out afterwards as well.
Yeah, I think we have time to do two. Let's do our last two. John, I saw you just put your hand down. Did you want to ask your question quick, and then we'll go to Ram? I'm calling her from Slipstream.
Yeah, I had a question which John Neal actually just put in the chat, which is what is the but it sounds like maybe you haven't landed necessarily on this. When you think about amount of water you can heat up quickly versus size of battery that you can, have in there. Like I'm basically comparing the size of the battery that you will need to heat a certain volume of water up to like 120 versus storing that water at 145. What is the like trade-off in size? Is it half as big? Is it
right?
That's the matrix. that's the thing we'll be playing with, and like figuring out what kind of mixing valves we want to have on there, and if and when, and then the quantity of water, and who's going to use it, and is it going into multifamily, or is it going into single family residential? so on and so forth. So we
yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like roughly trying to figure out what the balance is between necessary performance for most people and cost. So
yeah,
that's,
and this
that's
is
the
noting
target.
something else in the chat too, which is like, you can always, and I think you maybe reference the split system for a second, but not having to displace the volume of water with a battery is pretty attractive. I think we've seen form factor to be pretty limiting with the 120 volt water heaters that we're installing at larger sizes.
That's really interesting. Okay, cool.
Okay, why don't we go to our last question, Ram Narayana Murthy from Department of Energy. Go ahead, Ram.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for letting me jump in. Just want to say I'm actually quite excited that we are moving in this direction of getting small form factor 120 volts. In fact, I think when we started this whole journey 6 years ago, that's where we wanted to go, and I'm glad that we are getting there. But I think it's important for us to realize that we have to have these product lines, the 30 and 40 gallons that can run up 120. And so I'm really looking forward to the results. Also wanted to mention that there's another project that we are starting with the Colorado School of Mines to do a split system 120 volt water heater. So just very excited about these new products coming to the market, especially as we look at affordable housing and multifamily. I think these are key innovations that we need.
Cool. So, if you could send us an email, either Josh at Chain & Copper or Andrew at Chain & Copper, about that program at School of Mines, that would be very interesting to look at.
I'll check
so
it
it's
out
actually through the benefit FOA. So
nice.
I will
ensure we're working on too.
I mean, so
you know that.
I think it isn't the same. I think it isn't the same award set. So just want to make sure that we are getting all the pieces put together. But it'll be great for you all to connect and see how we can get all these innovations put together so we can scale them out to the market.
That's great information. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. I'll put my email in the chat so people can reach out.
Okay,
as well.
Great. Well, I'll connect back. Okay, I'll connect back.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Great, and I can facilitate that as well. The Colorado School of Mines team will hopefully be on. We're looking at a summer timeline there. They won, as Ram said, a benefit award and are going to be launching, I think, in the next month or two. So they preferred a summer time to come on and talk to the working group. So Josh, just any last thing to leave us with? What's the timeline looking like for developing this prototype?
Yeah, we just kind of kicked off this project in the last couple of months here. So we're tinkering right now. Product to market. Give us a year and some. Hopefully, if it was a year, it would be moving quick. But hopefully, we get things out there. We'll be doing a lot of testing over the next year, and we'll keep you all updated.
Cool. Well, we look forward to seeing the prototype as it develops and having you on again and to give updates. So thanks so much for being on to both of you. And thanks for
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Cool. Great. Okay. Well, for the second half of the working group, we're going to switch gears a little bit and we'll go over to Elliot from Clayton Homes. Elliot's been gracious enough to come to our Home Builders Action Council meeting that we coordinate with Energy Star and really just update us on some really exciting stuff that Clayton is doing around decarbonization, electrification, and heat pump water heaters in particular. So, Elliot, thanks so much for being here today, and look forward to your presentation.
Great. I appreciate y'all having me and giving me a chance to talk about this awesome program we've been working on. So just to give a little background of Clayton Homes, we are the largest manufactured housing builder in the nation. A big focus of our whole business model and our approach to business in general is affordability. We know that housing crisis in general is through the roof in this nation, and housing has never been more expensive, and it's never been a larger barrier to entry. So with that, we look at not only the initial price of the home, but also at what we call the hidden mortgage, which is that utility bill. That's one of those guaranteed fees that you're going to have to be paying on every month. A lot of times it's not really kind of considered when you're looking at that mortgage payment, things like that. And what better way to attack that hidden mortgage utility cost than to be Energy Star or zero energy rated. So we started on the Energy Star journey back in 2005, building Energy Star rated homes, and and that program really kind of continued, and we didn't fully dive in as far as committing our full production to it until more recently, here starting in 2020. I'll actually skip a couple slides ahead and give you all kind of a timeline here. So this is our timeline of our production of Energy Star rated homes, and over time, starting at the beginning, and then you can see that real big jump there in 2020, and then in the last 3-4 years here, it's been a real focus on getting all of our facilities building up to that higher threshold. So Energy Star, or Zero Energy program, came out last year for manufactured housing. So that was a new program for us. So we had to start working on developing how we were going to build to that standard and meet those minimum requirements. And what we found was that the heat pump water heater was the kingpin that kind of let us pivot to meet those standards and meet the minimum requirements and everything. So flipping into the slide here. So we came up with what we call the E-Built program. So E-Built is basically our marketing term, meaning that the home is built to the Zero Energy ready standard. So that's kind of how we kind of just wrapped everything up in a bow so we can market it and have things put all our language kind of behind that. We started in January of last year, and by the end of May of 2023, we had all 39 home building facilities certified. That was a huge undertaking to get it done. It was a big push by all of us to get it all there, and then we began full production of it on July 10th. So between July 10 and the end of the year, we built over 15,000 Zero Energy ready homes, and I believe that number now is up to 24,000 that we've built since we got certified, and it's sitting at 96% of our production right now. Part of the one of the things kind of holding us back from going 100% is some markets are very heavily reliant on gas, which has kind of made it more difficult to get certain appliances, things like that in there, and just the nature of some markets are less friendly to those kind of changes, but something we hope to get to 100% over the next few years here. So again, coming back to what the big the way that we were able to accomplish this was that heat pump water heater. It has such a huge impact on the electricity use of the home over the utility uses and everything like that. It significantly reduces the monthly cost for the homeowners. We opted to go with the hybrid heat pump water heater, so that way we found it was a little easier to kind of convince some of the retailers to move over to what they think of as new technology, but it's been around for a while and it's gotten significantly better in the last several years. So I think as much as as we've been trying to roll out this program, we've really been focusing on training and educating the retailers for what this equipment can do and how it can be beneficial for and everything. So common hurdles that we see are just installation issues. The equipment itself is great. We don't get any complaints about that when it's everything's installed and functional. What we kind of find is that the installation is where issues can arise, especially in our environment where it's very production oriented. But that was something that we had to take a very active approach in making sure that everything was done just right, so we get full functionality from our equipment and everything. So for example, keeping the filter area clean of dirt and debris. You can see we've got several different ways we keep the top filter area covered during our production process, trying to keep any debris from getting in there. We build all of our homes indoors. It's a climate controlled environment, but there's still, there's a very active construction environment. So there's lots of dust and debris that could get in there if not covered and protected correctly. We also know that this equipment tends to vibrate a little bit more than your typical water heater appliance. So we had to do some things to kind of mitigate the vibration effects. One of those being the transportation strap. So manufactured housing, these are homes that are going to be shipped down the road, sometimes up to several hundred miles. So typically what you see for securing these water heaters are a metal strap. But if you leave that metal strap connected to a stud in the wall and that heat pump water heater kicks on and that extra vibration gets going, it can cause cause it to resonate with the studs in the wall, and then you'll get the whole house kind of vibrating and amplifying that noise. So we changed it over to a nylon strap just so it kind of communicates that vibration a little bit less. And then we also use a vibration dampening pad under the appliance itself to help kind of mitigate that noise. Generally, we get questioned a lot on, do the homeowners notice? Do they complain about it, the extra noise, things like that? And really, no. So we kind of did a test. The heat pump water heater, it runs about as loud as a refrigerator or a freezer would. And we've redesigned our floor plans to put that heat pump water heater in the same room as the furnace. So it's kind of in that mechanical room area where it's going to be there's going to be noises and equipment running in general. So it just falls into that background area there. So that's my presentation. At this point, I'll open it up to any questions that y'all have.
Great, thanks so much. Elliot, before we get to questions, I do just want to highlight to folks how exciting and incredible what Clayton is doing. The 24,000 that Elliot mentioned that have been installed just in the last under a year, compare that to the entire heat pump water heater market in 2022, which is the last year we have data where we sold 141,000 heat pump water heaters were shipped. So Elliot getting into the game and going full speed into heat pump water heaters is huge, and Clayton. So thanks for that. Really excited. So let's first go to Alyssa's question in the chat. She asked, what makes someone unable to switch from gas? Is it mostly electrical capacity issues on the property in the mobile home park? What for that 4% who hasn't been able to switch yet? What's keeping them from?
Sure. So part of it is older communities that have limited electrical grid capacity. So a lot of those we have to opt for the 15 amp version instead of the 30 of our typical heat pump water heater. So really, and for those situations, they're just trying to limit the amount of appliances that they have to put on their panel box in general. So that can kind of play into it, which again, it's kind of counterintuitive in the sense that they're trying to limit their electrical load, but they're opting for some less efficient equipment. But they've already got gas kind of set up in that community to be able to handle it, things like that. The other thing we've kind of noticed is that in certain regions, gas has been incentivized by the municipalities and regulations. So historically, gas has been significantly cheaper, and certain areas, particularly like to use gas a lot more, and they've incentivized it. So there are certain kind of regulations in place that just kind of lend itself to more gas appliances being installed in that area. So it's kind of surprising. Is actually the West Coast is where we are kind of struggling to hit that 100%. But it's a lot of times it just comes down to what the independent retailer is willing to do and that kind of thing. So yeah, hope that answered your question.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks so much. And Michael Corbett's got his hand up. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Joseph. I have a question actually about your ducting setup. Are you pulling interior air and ducting it to the outside of the building, or are you ducting back into the interior space for kind of a balanced ventilation? Can you talk more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So with our heat pump water heater in the same room as a furnace, we have it's called a POS, positive operating system, but it's basically a duct for fresh air to be pulled into the system to feed the furnace, and the heat pump water heater is going to be feeding off that. But in general, it's going to have louvered doors on that over that mechanical door, so it's going to be pulling fresh air in from the outside as well. And then you can kind of see there in that picture, we're ducting it just straight up through the roof and exhausting it to the outside right now. So it is conditioned cold air. So we are working on a potential way to have that, have a valve to potentially put that cold air back into the home. So in the summer months, you could be getting, a little electric kick of some air conditioning there. But that's, future state. Right now, we're just exhausting it all to the outside of the home.
Got it. So it's also, but your louvered doors facing pulling from the outside as well.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for explaining that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something that in general we've paid a lot of attention to, the ducting there. When we do have field issues, a lot of times what we find is that duct work, they didn't take out the slack in the attic, so you get it kind of bunched up and everything, and so that can kind of cut down on the airflow ability of the appliance. So it can kind of restrict how much air can push out, and then it can not function as well, things like that. So again, that's where those installation issues are key.
And Elliot, are the on the e-built homes, do you have, because you mentioned furnace a couple times, are there gas furnaces as well? Are there heat pumps paired with heat pump water heaters? How does the makeup usually look for the heating and cooling systems?
Yeah, so we offer gas and electric. It'll just be dependent on the home building facility and their market. We offer heat pump water heaters with both gas and electric homes, so that that'll go into any home regardless of the furnace. Electric furnace homes will require a heat pump, an HVAC heat pump to be installed on site. That's just part of the requirements to get up to that zero energy level. But with the gas furnaces, we don't have to have that outdoor HVAC heat pump. But the hybrid heat pump water heater can go into a home, gas or electric.
And the reason you've chosen to do, almost 100% heat pump water heaters, whereas there's still the option for heat pumps or gas furnaces, is because of the points that you earn in getting the heat pump water heater and getting closer to that zero energy ready home certification.
That's correct. Yeah. So the way the Zero Energy Ready program for the MH side works is there's a point buy. So you add certain energy efficient things to your home, and to get you a certain amount of points, you have to meet a minimum 18 is the minimum essentially to be Zero Energy Ready. So what we found was that once you get the heat pump water heater in there, we were meeting enough of the other things just with our normal product line that was enough to put us over the hump of that minimum point requirement. So once we kind of did the math on, if we can get a heat pump water heater in every single one of these homes, we're basically there at that zero energy level. And then there's a tax rebate incentive for the home builders, which would be us, that makes it make sense money wise for us to build up to that higher efficiency level. So essentially getting that heat pump water heater at the price point, we made it so that we were able to build all those and pass those savings along to the customer. So we were able to do all this going up to that zero energy level without raising our prices to the end user, which has been an awesome win for us.
Great. Okay. Cool. A question is coming in on how is Clayton Homes sizing the heat pump water heaters? We talk a lot about this in the heat pump water heater world, getting the right size, based on occupants. Are you all staying with a consistent size? Have you had any, thoughts on going to a larger size? What's your thinking on sizing?
Our 40 gallon is the standard, and we pretty much just use that across the board. But we have a 50 gallon upgrade. We don't necessarily size them, but we have it there if the customer would like to upsize it. What we find is generally, the 40 gallons are plenty. With it being the hybrid, the recovery time on it is significant, and it just makes it so that you don't really need to go to that 40 or that 50 gallon in most cases. But just for public perception kind of thing, some people feel like they're getting a bigger house and need that 50 gallon. So we will accommodate that.
That's interesting. And sometimes in the heat pump water heater world, especially when replacing gas, well, this is especially true for the 120 volt heat pump water heaters that don't have the electric resistance backup. They suggest two sizes higher. So you see a lot of 65 and 80 gallons. So far, I know it's new to the switch to 100% heat pump water heaters, but are you serving customers, or are you finding if this has been plenty of hot water? What's been the customer feedback on this?
Yeah, absolutely. We've heard really good customer feedback. We actually just a couple weeks ago had an email shared with us from a homeowner who they were living in a Clayton home last year, and their January utility bill was about $250. They had moved into a new zero energy home in December, and their January bill was $75, which was awesome to hear. I mean, and obviously utility things like that can vary wildly with the weather and things like that. But even beyond looking at that, that's a significant savings for our homeowners and everything. So that's been definitely a huge win for us.
Great.
On the service side of things, obviously we still, watch the service side for any kind of issues coming up there. Again, mostly the issues that we see there are on the installation side. So if you get good quality installation in there, you're not going to have any issues.
Fantastic. Okay. Some folks are asking, what is the largest home that 40 gallons heat pump water heaters go into? How many bedrooms and how many occupants, I guess. And then the second part of that question, does Clayton build homes in cold climates, or is it all warmer climates?
So as far as the size of the home, I don't know specifics. I mean, we'll build homes triple wides, quadruple wides. We have high end plants that do a lot of custom floor plans. Our typical facility, they're building 4 3-bedroom homes, 2 3 baths, that kind of thing. So our 40 gallons kind of the standard, and then we have the 50 for an upgrade. So those higher end facilities that are doing more custom stuff, that's where you're going to get more the customer that's wanting to upsize to the 50 gallon, things like that. So.
Okay, great. And are you are you all installing mixing valves at all to set the temperatures higher, or just a standard without a mixing valve?
No, just a standard hybrid heat water heater installation.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So somebody's asking for your email address.
Yeah, I can put that in the chat here.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Great. I think the rest is just conversation. I don't see any other questions. So thanks, Elliot. I really appreciate you coming on. Huge thanks to Clayton for really leading in the switch to nearly 100% heat pump water heaters. And we'll be curious to hear continued feedback as you all continue to install thousands and tens of thousands of heat pump water heaters on how things are going. So
absolutely,
would love to have you on in the future. So thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, thanks, everybody. We are just a couple minutes from the end of our hour. We do put an open floor towards the end of our meeting to invite anybody to come on to the meeting and share any highlights or updates they'd like to share with the group. So I'll give us some awkward silence for a little bit and see if anybody has anything they'd like to share. Go ahead, Peter.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to flag 2 items out of the California plumbing code that we've identified that we feel like are potential barriers to scaling heat pump water heater adoption. And so there's an upcoming Title 24 Code Advisory Committee meeting on, get the dates, March 25th and 26th. So we'll be commenting. Just kind of wanted to let everyone on this know about the items we identified. So the first is a first hour rating issues. So there's a table, California, with minimum first hour rating requirements, and we've learned that some 120 volt, 65 gallon systems aren't able to comply with the minimum first hour rating requirement. But a lot of these units, some of them have integrated thermostatic mixing valves, or thermostatic mixing valves are installed with the unit. So the actual, the actual provided first hour rating is higher, but the California Plumbing Code looks at the energy guide label, which doesn't account for the higher tank temperature. So we're advocating that a footnote be added that a supplemental calc could be provided with a higher first hour rating if a thermostatic mixing valve is installed with the unit. And then the other item is around safety. So in the residential garage appliance section, which is really intended around safety with a combustion fuel gas appliances, there's a subsection requiring protective devices in the path of a vehicle. And we've learned from customers throughout our jurisdiction in Santa Clara County that different AHJs are applying that to heat pump water heaters and asking residents to put in bollards in front of their heat pump water heaters, which is space and cost prohibitive. So we're requesting they clarify in that subsection that this applies to fuel gas appliances only. So just wanted to let anyone know if anyone feels strongly, I encourage you to attend the meeting, or if you're in other states, to check your code and see if there's similar items. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it. Have you connected with Ben Foster at Barnett Plumbing, and they've been having some of those challenges with first hour rating as well, and have resolved some of them. Joshua Pierce, who may be on the call, but from our HA might be able to connect with you as well. Have you connected with anybody who's been working on this first hour rating issue?
I've heard it indirectly about some of their issues, but I haven't talked to them directly yet. But good suggestion.
Okay. Joshua Pierce is on the line. He may have had to jump and wants to give an update on that. Going once, going twice. Yeah, okay. I can connect you with Joshua and that team if that's helpful. Thanks, Peter. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Any other open floor items? Okay, not hearing any. Let's go to our wrap up next steps. Our next working group meeting will be April 16th on Tuesday. Let us know if you want to join an AWHI task group. Huge thanks to the folks at Channing Street Copper and all of you for being on today. And of course, Clayton Homes. We will see you at the next one. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.